background is maybe we can actually have a live feed if we get enough subscribers to YouTube, but I'll let Cam explain that more when he gets up to speak. So I'm going to call the meeting to order. There's sort of the basic, and I don't think anybody here has probably looked at the minutes from last week's meeting. Did you by any chance? Okay. Kip, could you move to approve the minutes?
To approve the meeting.
Anybody second? Thank you. Okay. That's the administrative part to get through. Not everyone is here that I would like to be able to thank, but I want to start by saying there's a lot that's wonderful things that have been going on in the neighborhood, and there's a few not so wonderful things because there have been some break-ins recently. So I'm going to leave time toward the end of the meeting so that we can discuss that. But I'd like to start to talk about the really wonderful things that have been going on, and at the top of the list is the successful turnout for Music in the Park. It just was a stupendous response. We had over 300 people at the event, the last one, and it felt like the old Madison Park. Just a lot of people out enjoying themselves, having a picnic. I want to thank Libby Samuelson, who is here, Mrs. Emily Morton, who is the secretary, but also the one who was arranging all the acts for all the bands for Music in the Park. When she walks in, we'll give her a standing ovation. And Robin Kilwine also, who just made all the effort to get the word out and to have it spread and to have such a good turnout. So I want to thank all of those people. And I should also say I want to thank the sponsors, Eric Wickland from Wickland Real Estate, and Kip White from Caldwell Banker Bain, Carla Wines also co-sponsored, Windermere, and Cheryl Jones was huge from Windermere in helping us find the bands and promoting it. And last but not least is Aegis Living, and they also sponsored one of the bands. So it was just really lovely to see everybody out enjoying themselves. Yeah. So I felt like, okay, we're back.
Also, thank you to all of the people who donated for our raffles.
Yes.
A few restaurants, McGilvra's, The Attic, Madison Park Cellars donated wine. There you go. I was like, but that really felt elevated. People really got into it, so we appreciate that.
Okay, that was fun. So just so everyone knows, each one of these evenings cost a little over $1,000. I'll just round it up to about $1,200 per evening. We were really lucky, really fortunate to have the different businesses sponsor it. We obviously want to repeat it for next year. I almost gave Emily heart failure by saying, let's do another one next week because it's so popular. But we're not doing that this year. But next year, maybe we'll extend it, so we'll have maybe 5 or 6 because it is so popular. And there have been the ideas of, well, could we create a small stage for the event? And we're kind of working on those ideas. But again, that probably raises the cost of the whole process, and we may need to raise some more money from the community. So I also, we have somebody else here I want to thank tremendously, is Ann Woodford, who's in the back, and she is making a bulletin board for us that is in the process of being made.
Yeah, that actually gives a picture of how far I've progressed on my phone.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I'll do that, but I can share it if anybody wants to.
Okay.
I saw her working on it today. It looks great.
Thank you. Yeah.
So if you don't-
the grass.
So if you don't know what the bulletin board is, there's going to be a community bulletin board. It's 8 feet long, 4 feet high, and it is going to hang on the Madison Park Pharmacy and Wellness Center between the pharmacy and the hardware store. And on it we'll be posting events that are coming up, information about community events, and how to look at our website and how to donate to us. There'll just be a lot of information for you. And that will be kept updated by Ann, who's being incredibly generous in what this is costing the community. So thank you, thank you. Which also brings me to, is that Kevin back there too? Kevin Larkin, who is also one of our neighbors, who is donating, who is contributing the bulletin board to Madison Park. So thank you, Kevin. And Kevin also gave us the idea, which I just love, of working on matching grants from different companies. So Kevin is a Microsoft geek, and we now also get a matching grant from Microsoft. And now Emily gets a This is what happens when you come late, you just get a song. No, this is thank you for music in the park. And I also should be I should also be thanking the owners of the building where the Madison Park Pharmacy is, Dean and Gigi. Yes, Gigi Alder. I'm gonna butcher this. Alteros. And we have just signed the agreement with them to be able to put the bulletin board up on their wall. So that's huge for us, and I think I'm seeing a sign like this. So those are the out of the gate, some of the great things that are happening. We have the art walk coming up on September 8th. From 5 to 8 is the opening reception. Throughout the business community, there will be art hung in all the different businesses. And we thank Home Street Bank, they're the ones who are sponsoring that event. Then the next big one, and Ginny's not here tonight. So the next big event that we do have coming up is in November. November 4th, we are going to have what's called the Warmth and Wine fundraiser. And this is going to be an evening of wine tasting and appetizers and entertainment. We have a pianist who will be there. We have a singer, Barbara Ireland, who will also sing for us. And then we're asking people to bring warm jackets and winter clothing to donate to Northwest Harvest. We are working out the details on the location, but I feel like we're getting very close to button that down, and it's really hard for me not to tell you where it's going to be right now, but I'm going to try and keep mum until we have that all secured. So I'm going to keep giving a few more updates, but some of the people who are on these event committees will get up at the end and tell a little bit more. I also want to welcome a couple of other people who are now working with us from Park Shore. Barbara Lipke is here, and we now have 2 liaisons. And one of the first things we're working on are Christmas events. We now know that Christmas ships will come on December 21st, and we are working on a little bit of pre-Christmas ships events. At the Christmas ships, we'll have Santa, Cocoa. It's okay to say, I just saw a child. Hot cocoa and cookies at the bathhouse, and pictures with Santa. We also are going to hopefully partner with the Red Wagon for toy donations. But we're working out all those details. So we also are hoping we are going to light all the trees along the business district in Madison Park. And this is one of my big asks for tonight, and one of the things that we really want to be working on. This will also segue into talking about some of the break-ins that have occurred too. But in the past, it has cost $6,000 to light the to light the trees, not Christmas, but light the trees along Madison. And this year, Park Shore is donating $3,000 toward that. In the past, for the last couple of years, they have donated all $6,000 to light these trees. but they're not able to do the full 6,000. So we are in the process of raising the funds for the balance of that. So we have $3,000 for them. We've had a private donation of $250. We've had a donation from Cookin for $500. Thank you very much. And the real push is that we would like to be able to keep these lights up year round and have all the trees lit. At $3,750, we can come close to having most of the trees lit, but if we really want to have all the trees lit, we need to come up with the balance of that fund. One of the reasons we want to do it is to keep them up year round for safety purposes, that people after dark, even in the summer, once it gets dark, they can feel comfortable walking around at night. We also, this may be pie in the sky, but we want to try and make it so depending on the season, there are different lights lighting up, different colored lights. Like white for Christmas, pink or red for Valentine's, green for St. Patrick's Day, orange for Halloween. I can't think of other colors, but you guys get the idea. And so that's the hope, is that it's not only kind of magical that you drive down into Madison Park and you walk around in Madison Park and it's beautifully lit, but it's also a safety concern. One suggestion is that if residents want to sponsor a tree, go in with different neighbors, maybe each person raise $200, and with 5 other neighbors, and they will get acknowledgement, recognition for sponsoring the tree. So there's different ways to try and raise these funds, but the lights are scheduled to be hung in November and to be lit November 17th. So we have sort of a small window of time to try and raise the additional funds that we need for the lighting of the trees. So
They'll stay how long this year?
Excuse me?
November 17th until when this year?
They would stay up there. That's the hope. They would stay. In the past, they've been cut down, as you know. They've been cut down in March, and the idea is, let's not cut them down, let's leave them. And there'll be some additional costs for maintaining them over the years, but I think it sounds like a lovely idea. And of the businesses I've spoken to, everyone thinks it's a wonderful idea. So that's the goal. So keep that in mind, maybe spread the word, see if you can find 5 other people and co-sponsor, and just let me know. That would be great. Let's see. What else am I? Oh, one of the fun things is on the business page, we now have a directory of all the businesses. There, if you click on the name of their business, it will take you to their website, or there's their email, phone number. Eric Wickland is my star on this. So you can find out where all the business, you can find the full directory of all the businesses, and every month we are profiling a different business in the neighborhood. We may try and do it more frequently so we can, because we have a lot of wonderful businesses and we want to be sure everybody has their moment. This month it is Spa Jolie. Next month it is Madison Cellars, Fred's business. So, and cooking is coming too. So, anyway, it's fun to see the articles and learn a little bit about every one of the businesses. And then probably the last thing that I will talk about is that we are working on a fundraising campaign for Friends of Madison Park. We hope to launch it within the month, and it's called Circle of Friends. And it is just our attempt to network out into the community and let everyone know that we are here, and ask people for donations so we can have a base fund for events and everything else we want to do for the upcoming year or beyond. We just need to get that foundation in place. So you will see that on the website. You will receive an email. Please tell your friends about friends. That's basically what we're asking. I'd like to have some of the let me back up one more time. I digress, is what I'm known to do. One of the things we are gonna talk about tonight is public safety. I also wanted to, let you know that we were gonna talk about our finances at this point, but our treasurer has an injured foot and can't get here. So the one thing that I will say is we are stable in our bank account, but we have, just full transparency, we have about $5,000 in our bank account. And in order to continue to do some of the things we want to do, we obviously need to grow that account. I'm gonna have a few different people talk about the events they have coming up. Warmth and Wine, I've told you what I know. Jenny Martin, who is our events chair, couldn't be here tonight. Art Walk, Emily Van Dyke isn't here tonight either. But I have mentioned that Art Walk starts on the 8th of September. So there, yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but before we leave the Warmth and Wine, are you still seeing that as a partial fundraiser also?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
It is
for-
considered a fundraiser, and there will be a charge, there'll be a reservation to attend it. I'm not sharing many of the details because I feel like we've got to get all of those firmed up before I start speculating on
Is
things.
it a fundraiser for Friends of Madison Park?
It is a fundraiser for Friends of
So I
Madison.
was just thinking, given the date of that, it might be too late, but could you also do a fundraiser there for the trees? Like, let people know, cause as a business, you know, we have customers that comment on the trees, or why don't we do this, and why don't you do that? And I don't think people have a clue as to how much it costs.
Right.
And I think if it was put out there on a sign or some kind of a board that evening.
Maybe a
it's-
bulletin board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And it is
said,
gonna be on the bulletin.
it costs X amount of dollars to do this, we would love your support, this is how you can contribute. Just get it out there, because people just think we go out and string lights on a tree.
And you
They
did
don't
such a nice job.
understand.
So professional.
And I get it, but you know, it's just one of those things that I'm shocked at how much it costs.
I'm shocked at how much it costs.
It's like, wow.
Well, Jan, I would say a
So-
couple things, and you may have something to add on this, is that it is going to be on the bulletin board, am I correct? Did we put that? About the raising funds for the Christmas, for
No,
the tree lights?
That was not on the list that you gave me, but that's okay, there's been no words written yet, so
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay.
I think probably what we should put is, I mean, there's the place where you can donate, right? But under maybe neighborhood happenings, we put sponsor the tree and see donation page or whatever. We can work out wording, but instead of like, you can only ask for donations in so many spots, because then people are gonna stop looking
Well,
on the board. It
so
says
that's why I
donate
don't
here,
wanna-
donate here, donate here.
Right, no, I agree, I mean, I
Yeah.
have put it on the website,
Right.
I'll do it again and again.
But I think the
again.
sponsoring idea with a group of friends would be good, because
Right.
it's a lot easier for maybe somebody to donate $100 versus 500 or 50, whatever, if they can get a group of people.
The other thing is, there's gonna be an article in the Madison Park Times, it's coming out on the front page about Friends of Madison Park. And in there is, the call for lighting the trees. So, and I will also say, the next meeting we are having here in September is all about public safety and, block watches and, kind of what's going on in the community and how we're gonna address it. And included in that will be, again, the call to raise the money.
I
So,
think also if people get acknowledgement, like I
Yes.
often thought, I mean, I know they hung a sponsored by Aegis Living on
Right.
the trees, but, you know, I mean, I would be happy, I mean, John's contributing money, but I would have been happy to put a sign sponsored by the Smith family,
right,
or, you know, something in the window, or
and we can
just
definitely do
something
that,
that
yeah.
get, you know, acknowledges people's support.
I agree. All right, well, we're working on that one, for sure. Well, while we're going through different events and everything, I'd like Barbara to come up and speak about the speaker series, we call them Tuesday TED Talks, that she has been working on. Give us a little update.
Yeah, so it's coming along. A few nitty gritty things that at least Octavia and I work out, and I don't know how it works with these group, if you have to do motions and things. But first of all, we think it'll be here in the bathhouse now, but that's not confirmed yet. And instead of having wine, we have coffee and tea and some cookies, hopefully all of it
Why
donated.
not wine? So, I'd be happy to do that.
So can I not to interject too much, because I
Yeah.
want you to, but Fred, one of the things that we have been told by the preschool co-op, that their relationship with the city is an agreement that wine will be served in the
Not
city.
So, not,
Not,
okay. So maybe up front though. Okay. Always aware.
no, Nathan is, he's a business. So,
I'll keep an eye on it.
There are also, with the speaker series, there might be an issue with the insurance. So that's the most recent.
Oh,
They're gonna ask their board,
With these people.
yeah,
Oh, with the bathhouse people?
yes, yes.
but we do have, we can get.
So they're gonna be working on that.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, fingers crossed. And we were seeing a charge of $15, and half of that amount would go to the speakers. And that's it for the nitty gritty. And then we have 2 more speakers booked. One is thanks to Jenny Martin. I wish I could thank her here, because it's an expert who lives in the community also on artificial intelligence. Her name's Stella Eckhart, and she was the director of a department in a program at Microsoft that handled AI with building and design, and now she's a VP of a company that does that. And she's going to be talking about what AI actually is and how it might change our lives, and the very big benefits and the very big dangers that it could bring. So that should be really fascinating, and she's a really good speaker. The second person, thanks to Octavia, is amazing. His name's Bruce, thank you, Malik. And he's the professor emeritus at the UW with astronomy. And he's going to be showing James Webb telescope imagery, and talking about what that means for us and our universe. And by the way, I found out he is known for being the person who discovered the black hole in the middle of our own Milky Way galaxy. I think that's really amazing. I'm super excited. And then I have conversations going for the last 2 slots, but it's coming right along. I think it's going to be amazing.
When do these start?
So it's every second Tuesday starting in January, once a month, and it will run for 5 months.
And then I'll have Kip White, talk about our beautiful Madison Park.
Yeah, so the Friends of Madison Park would like to spruce up and do a little bit of work just on Madison Park, as we already talked about, like the lights. But we would love to start where Madison Park starts, right there at Starbucks, and work our way down and just clean it up, make it a little, spruce it up a little bit, maybe add some pots all the way down. If you go over in front of Cactus, in front of Cookin', and just kind of like look around, they do a great job maintaining that. It's a lot of work, and we're very thankful that they do that, but we would like to spread that kind of a look all the way through Madison Park and just make it more beautiful. So we're hoping maybe in the future we can get some hanging baskets. That's something that we've kind of talked about, is like out there, and we think it would be great to have happen. So that's kind of where we're trying to get it to go. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And the garden.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't on the list. So.
Oh, my.
So the other thing that we're gonna do next spring is we're gonna do a garden tour. So we're gonna be looking for some homes to showcase, and that'll be one of our other events that we have coming up. It'll be a fundraiser. We'll charge appropriately, and we're hoping to have about 10 gardens, at least 10 gardens. And we're really focusing mostly on the flats of Madison Park, so people don't have to elevate up into Washington Park to make it easy for them. So that's something else that we're in the process of working on right now.
Thanks. So I should add that Kip and I did, how many thousands of steps? We counted our steps.
I did 9, she did 12. So, 'cause I'm tall.
We just did back and forth through the neighborhood, looking at different gardens. And I think we have about 30 that we, oh, that's a good one. So hopefully we really get down to 10 wonderful gardens that make it a lot of fun to go see. The other thing that we are, through the city, there's a program called Spring Clean, I believe it's called. And so we're getting involved in that, so that we'll have a day or two. You can do it's part of the Adopt a Street program, and we can work with, the park and just have a full-on neighborhood cleanup of the neighborhood. So probably the business district and the park and the beach. So that's all in the works. I think the next thing I want to talk about is probably the public safety issue. And Cam, I'll let you.
Sure.
You go.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Hey everybody, I'm Cam. I don't want to talk as if we all know what we're talking about, so I'll just give a brief introduction. Over the past month or so, we've had a large number of break-ins and random crime in the neighborhood, significantly more than we're used to seeing. I would go through like an entire list of the people that were broken into, but it's like snowballed with gossip at this point that it sounds to my ear on the street like every business between MLK and the water got broken into. That's not the case, but I can say confidently that the number of the businesses in Arboretum Court over by the Shell station were broken into, and then a number of businesses in our own business district were broken into. Some were attempts, some were successful, losses were definitely suffered. And certain people in the community have been reaching out and wondering what Friends of Madison Park is going to do about it. Obviously, we're not like a vigilante group, so we can't put on superhero masks and fix it. But I did want to say that we're working to address what's happened with the businesses in question and with the rest of the businesses in the neighborhood. Because we want to try to nip it in the bud and make some kind of reaction. So the last thing we want to do is encourage people to be more brazen, to try to commit more burglaries, or to move from businesses into residential areas, which would obviously also be super bad. Obviously, Friends of Madison Park has limited resources. That's part of what we've been talking about tonight. We've got limited money, we've got limited people, but we are going to work to try to coordinate a response to this as best we can. So what we're working on in the future, what we're advocating for right now is more patrols and more police presence in the neighborhood. I'm not sure how successful we're going to be at that, but we are planning to work with SPD to advocate for just like maybe swing by once a night or something right around the time all the businesses close. A couple of the businesses that were not broken into were businesses that still had people on site at 3 in the morning. So bars that are open late, the bakery, morning staff is showing up right around that time, and those places were unsuccessful. So it's obvious that there are deterrents that work. We just need to figure out how to get those together as a community. Ultimately, the bottom line is the safety of the businesses is the business's own responsibility. We can help to coordinate and facilitate as much as we can, but like I said, we can't become superheroes and fix the problem overnight. What we are working on is, like at a really basic level, I'm going to work with Eric to post some safety contacts and basic safety information to the website. So friendsofmadisonpark.com will have some like resources or people you can contact if something does happen. I think the business has looked into hiring like private security or some kind of patrol, and that's a no. Why was that a no?
It's terribly expensive.
It's terribly expensive, and that's what I figured the answer would be. I know we've seen like some patrol cars kind of roaming around here. I'm not exactly sure who hires those, but for the businesses in the core district to band together and try to hire private security, I think would be prohibitive. Advocating for more patrols, I said that. Lighting year-round obviously has been a huge topic of conversation tonight. We think that is one of the main things that we can do. We're also going to talk to the businesses about lighting like the back alley behind this main strip where McGilver's and everybody is. Even if it's just like cheap Amazon motion detector and a light comes on kind of things that we can stick up on a wall. We'll try to get something like that going. Obviously, it'd be ideal if all the businesses on the strip had Ring cameras. Those can be monitored live. You can pay a fee to have those monitored live. So even though you might not know, and there's not that delay of like calling the security company calls SPD, you might be able to pay for a service where there's just somebody watching the camera, and if somebody approaches, they can say audibly, hey, what are you doing? Who are you? Do you have business here? Something like that. If any of you have security camera systems at home, you probably have a similar feature where you can hit a button and say, what's going on? Or, did you lock yourself out again? Something. But obviously installation, if you're not savvy enough to do it on your own, can be expensive, and subscription fees are expensive as well. So while we can't entirely take on a responsibility like that for the businesses in the district, we're hoping we can maybe potentially fundraise for it in the future, or help coordinate the installation, subscription, and maintenance of something like that. As Akavia mentioned, we are going to dedicate our this meeting in September to the topic of public safety and what we can all do. I think we've got Joe from SPD confirmed to come down. He's our community liaison, and so he's going to talk to us about how to form block watches and what we can do to take more responsibility on our own streets. It's basic stuff. It's phone trees. It's looking out for one another, that kind of thing. But that's what we're going to focus on in our September meeting. That's a lot of my updates. I just wanted to encourage everybody right now in the neighborhood to just practice some basic safety stuff. I know we're really used to thinking of like, oh, we love this neighborhood. Like maybe some of us are even like, oh, I don't even bother locking my back door, or I've got an AC unit on a ground floor window and it's totally unsecured. Like these are things we want to think about right now while we're gearing up and trying to get the SPD or the community to have some kind of response to this. Is secure your doors and windows. Make sure that's ready to go at the end of the night. Check your exterior lighting. The days are getting shorter. This is the time of year where bulbs burn out because they're on for longer. So make sure you've got your home really well lit. And when you're walking around the neighborhood, if you're walking around late at night, walk with purpose, keep your eyes up, walk with a buddy if you can. Just really basic tips like that. But we'll get some pointers like that put up on the website as well for people. And then lastly, this has nothing to do with safety. But let's lighten up a little bit because everyone's looking at me like this is a really serious press conference. In addition to safety committee stuff, and I do want to thank my cohorts Claire and Gina who could not be here tonight, but in addition to safety stuff, I also do like some media production and video capture and stuff for Friends of Madison Park. That's my phone over there recording this meeting. We're not going to be able to broadcast live until I've got at least 50 subscribers on the Friends of Madison Park YouTube channel. So if anybody's savvy, go to friendsofmadisonpark.com, click on news. There's a link in there to our latest video, and I never thought I'd find myself saying this live in person, but go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe. Yeah, thank you.
Any photos of any break-ins?
I don't have security footage from anybody. My
We
understanding
should
is
probably
the attic managed to capture some of these folks.
Because it'd be nice to know who these people are, so if we see them
Right.
casing places.
I will say, one tip that I do know of is that they did have a baby stroller full of tools.
That's what I've heard.
And so, yeah, there is some level of sophistication to these break-ins. They're not crimes of opportunity or necessarily crimes by people who are completely out of their mind or anything like that. There seems to be some purpose and some intent. So I will see if I can get some of that
That would
footage.
be great, because
Yeah.
I'm sure Starbucks has some great cameras.
I would
And
hope
what
so,
happened there
yeah.
was incredible.
Certainly, I talked to some of the folks from the attic and they said they've got footage of them just milling around inside and taking their time and being pretty brazen. So, yeah, we'll try to get that and figure out the most legal way to share that with the community. Yeah, that would be my concern.
I was just gonna,
Shoot.
I've been broken, my house has been broken into twice, and both of them were in between like 2:30 and 3:30.
Yeah.
So it really does, they want it.
It's shift change.
Yeah, that seems
They
to be
don't want to come when
the,
no one's around.
that seems to be the
Yeah.
danger zone for sure.
Yeah, and, I think the thing that kept them from coming all the way in the second time was, I have a really loud alarm.
Yeah,
And, you know, some of the alarms are somewhat passive, you can't really hear it from outside.
for sure,
So I
yeah.
think that does help, because they figure hundreds of people are hearing this alarm. Someone's gonna call the police, you know,
Yeah.
rather than just, and then, I guess, yeah, the one downside of the last one was the people that broke in, they did come into the electrical closet first and turned off the power
Yeah.
to the building, and then tried to get in, so it was unfortunate that they did put in that time first. You know, you kinda hope that it's a
Yeah.
one-off, throwing a hammer, the guy with a hammer, but, Yeah, they're thinking.
And it's tough to combat that as well, you know, I think about like the cameras that I have in my home.
Yeah.
They're battery operated, so
Yeah.
somebody could kill power in my house and they would still record. But if my router doesn't have power, then they're not
Right.
uploading to the cloud, so if they rip the cameras down and take them, then I'm SOL.
Yeah.
So yeah, good.
Of course, we don't want to.
Been there sometimes, yeah.
So Kip, you had something?
Oh, I was gonna say, we had, years ago, me and a couple neighbors, we had a police come and we kind of did a security audit. We actually were able to have the police come to our house and give us an audit. I don't know if they would do that for the business or not. And they said, I mean, they graded you from like A to F. And they said, this is the area that you need to, and like on the back gates, put a padlock on it, put a sign that there's gonna be a dog there. And I'm sure that they have something for businesses. I don't know where they are, where they would stand today because of budget.
Well, something we can.
Budget purposes, but it'd
I
be
was
something
gonna
to look into because
Yeah.
each,
In my conversations with Joe at the Love Happens Here event, he did mention that that's available to the businesses. It's something that he's.
yeah, I mean, that'd be great if they could do it, as well as anyone who has a house down here. It was a great thing, and we ended up with a decent grade. We don't have a perfect grade, because there's a couple things we are not willing to do, they told us to do, but, anyway, it's worth looking into, so, yeah.
One of the things that, I talked to Jimmy Christopoulos, who owns Refine, that's down in the Arboretum Court, and, she was just saying the most that the community can do for the businesses is for two things. One is to shop locally and keep those businesses thriving and paying attention to the businesses, because she said you get to a point where you kind of question, is it worth having a brick and mortar presence in the community, or do you just want to do your business online, because you don't run into all these issues. So shopping locally, and also, and I talked to Courtney and McGilvert, she said just for people to be aware, to be looking out for something that looks unusual, a little worrisome, and to let either the business know or let the police know. The community officers who spoke at, I think, our second meeting, maybe it was our second meeting, they have had a presence in the neighborhood, not as much recently, so part of the thing is to try and up that again as well. So, but a lot of this, we're in the process of figuring out how Friends of Madison Park can be supportive and have the backs of the businesses. That's all gonna take a little time. Hopefully by the time we meet at the end of September, we'll have a little bit clearer path on how to deal with this.
Yeah.
Kim, thank you for the videos you've been making of the
Oh.
events, they're awesome.
Yeah.
They
yeah.
are.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah. That's the easiest part of all of this.
And I would love it, again, we did this the last time, and it's all smile, is that we do a picture of the meeting group.
Sure.
Again, because it's nice to kind of have a collection of who's showing up and how this is looking, and it's not two people, as somebody said. So, that's, you know, we've had bigger crowds, but it's really wonderful when everybody comes together. I think, the one last thing I would say is we are, as the Friends of Madison Park, we're still kind of working out internal communication, organization, and we're working on that. Emily has been huge in that, and Grace has been huge in that. And so hopefully, we're gonna be a well-oiled machine here within the next couple of months. And we're doing a meeting here in the next month to just kind of work on those things and be sure we're a well-oiled machine. Does anybody have any questions? Otherwise.
I did, on the,
Yes.
individual concerts in the park,
Yes.
were any of those cash positive, other than the money going out, like the donations and for the raffles and stuff like that? Did those cover the cost, or was there money made, or?
So, yes,
I'm just
you're
curious.
you're a bookkeeper lady.
Well,
And our music in the park room.
none of we did not cover the costs with the raffles, but they were all sponsored.
Right.
So, there was a few kind of smaller expenses that came in at the end. I don't remember what we collected online in terms of donations, but we have about $600 worth of cash that we brought in. the first night was definitely had the most participation in the raffle. I think we made like $600 the first night, and then like 100, 150, 200 the nights after that. Yeah.
So it's not cash.
But it'd be, well, it'd be great, I mean, if the
They get-
sponsors take care of everything, it'd be
Right.
great if we could, I mean, if we could
goes
make,
back into the-
you know,
Yeah.
$500 and there'd be, over 4 concerts, there's a couple thousand, that would be,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
something, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we're gonna do a debriefing on music in the park, just to say, what did we do right, what did we do wrong? And, that's kind of true with this whole process. We're doing a little bit of that internally, what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong? How do we improve this? But, all in all, huge success. Otherwise, I think we are, we're not adjourned until we get our picture taken. I almost blew it, so, let's switch out and just,
And we have a glass of wine.
and we can have a glass of
Outside.
champagne for-